Skin, ma'am, you're on mute.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Taskin, and I welcome you all on Homeopathy Musing. Today, in the ABC of Remedies, episode 16, we are going to be studying the remedy sulphur. Very commonly used remedy. We have with Dr. Preeti Shah, who will be teaching sulphur to us in today's session. We have a lot of previously studies remedies which are for free on our ABC of Remedies. If you go on our YouTube page, you'll find all these remedies, and you can also get access to it through our website as well. Before we move on, I would like to take a few seconds and just introduce you all to our upcoming courses. So the ongoing course Classroom to Clinic version 2 is specially designed for students, new practitioners, and homeopaths returning to practice after a break. We have total 12 sessions, and we are ongoing with this course. If you want, you can register and get access to the previous episodes, previous sessions of this course as well. We also are introducing Basic of Contemporary Homeopathy version 4, which is our fourth version of this course, where we plan on integrating both classical and contemporary homeopathy. This course is starting soon from the 31st of August. This course is starting soon, and the early bird is till the 31st of August. So you can register for the same as well. We have learned Gentian nails with Dr. Dinesh Chauhan, sir, where sir will be teaching the higher order, the Gentian nails of the plant kingdom through the APG4 classification. We have Dr. Mayuresh Mahajan, sir, for a one-day webinar on treating pathological cases using the HHF mind method. We have treating anxiety and panic, a 360-degree view with Dr. Aradhana Chitra ma'am, which is a 4-day course starting soon. Then, of course, Lanthanides with Dr. Jonathan Hardy, sir, we'll be exploring the hidden Lanthanide series with Dr. Jonathan Hardy, sir. And a special course on nutrition with Dr. Nandita Sham, ma'am, will be starting soon. We also have treating psychotic disorders with homeopathy with Dr. Preeti Shah and Dr. Prajakta Vaidya. All these courses are available on the website as well. I'll share the link of these courses and you can register for the same. Before we move on, a basic hygiene factor I would like to go through. To mute your lines all the while, you can keep your videos on for an interactive session. If you have any questions, queries, or difficulty, you can put it in the chat box and we'll address it at the end. Do not scribble on the screen. Make sure you make, I said do not scribble on the screen, and there's someone who scribbled already. So please do not scribble on the screen. Make sure you make notes and share your experiences. Thank you. I'll stop sharing and I'll invite ma'am.
All right. Hi, Taskin. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining again today in our yet another interesting session. And today we want to talk about sulfur. Now, who doesn't know sulfur? All of us know sulfur. It's one of the most prescribed remedy. And, whether the number of prescriptions a beginner homeopath would have or number of prescriptions a senior homeopath would have of sulfur would be very, very common, right? You would use sulfur so often, but sometimes it is over prescribed. There's a lot of what do you say, a talk around to be mindful when and how to prescribe sulfur. It is one of those polycrests that is going to be on your repertorial chart almost every time if you're going to take big rubrics, right? And then I kept thinking that why is it so? Yeah, why are we all prescribing, and why is it such a critical, important remedy in homeopathy? And then one of the things that I discovered that sulfur is the fifth most common element on earth. Yeah, it is also one of the core chemical elements needed for biochemical functioning of our body. It's one of the main macronutrient for all living beings. It is essential element for all life. Yeah, so certain amino acids, certain vitamins, biotin, thiamine, they all have sulfur as an element. Yeah. Now, it may not necessarily always be found in its pure native form, because it always forms salts, yeah, sulfides and sulfate minerals, but it is one of the most essential element, organic and non-organic. It's everywhere in the universe, on the earth, within our body. So it is natural that if it is such a critical element, it's possible for our energies, to vibrate with the sulfur pattern more frequently than one would imagine. Now, sulfur has been used in, what do you say, in the ancient times. Sulfur has been used as an antifungal, as an antibacterial. It was used to treat acne vulgaris, acne rosacea, seborrheic dermatitis, dandruff, warts, whatnot. There were sulfur soaps, sulfur ointments. There were advertisements which would say that, oh, you know what, sulfur can cure this, it can cure baldness, it can cause early graying of hair. And there are ointments and creams of sulfur. Sulfur is also used, you heard of the drugs, sulfur drugs, right? So in modern medicine also, it's part of an, it's an antibacterial agent. Yeah, you will see sulfur as an ingredient in a lot of allopathic drugs. Yeah, penicillin has sulfur component, cephalosporin has a sulfur component. So in fact, if you read Hahnemann's Materia Medica Pura, if you read chronic diseases, Hahnemann says that sulfur has been used for so many centuries, but for thousands of years, medical, non-medical purposes. It has been used for itch so often, for skin conditions so often, but nobody really understood why was sulfur effective in skin diseases? Why was sulfur the main remedy for itching? And the reason was similia similibus curenda. It produced similar symptoms, and hence it helped cure the itch that was prevalent. Yeah. So it's used, medically. It's used as a fertilizer, as a pesticide. It is used. It is such an important contributor for energy resources. For batteries, it's being used. So it's but natural that sulfur is going to be one of the key polycrest remedies, one of the most frequently prescribed remedies in our times. Yeah. So this is one side of the story. Now, the other side of the story, and as contemporary homeopaths, yeah, I mean, Prajakta and I always keep harping about integrative homeopathy, right? So we want to integrate our left brain and right brain. We want to integrate our classical concepts, yeah. So we know all of the classic. I mean, I need not really repeat. I don't know. It may sound silly, but we will do that. We'll talk about the key characteristics, which perhaps all of you already know by heart. But we'll talk about that. But using the right brain, using the contemporary lens, what is sulfur? Sulfur is part of the mineral kingdom. Correct? What is the core issue of sulfur? Yeah, the core issue of any mineral is about structure. Their survival is their structure. Is their structure intact? Is their structure breaking? Is their structure failing? It's about their relationship, their performance. It's about what they need, what they have, what they are lacking, or what they are losing. Yeah, it's about what I need to, complete my structure, what I need to be good in my relationships, in my performance, at my work, my ability, my capacity, my support, what I need to be stable versus what I'm losing, where I'm failing. Yeah. So these are the two elements in sulfur. Now, when we talk about this core issue of what I have, what I need versus what I'm losing, this is a mineral language. Yeah, and when you talk about the mineral language, you talk about the periodic table, right? And when we are talking about the periodic table, you see like it's so structured. There are rows, there are columns, and each row will coincide with one column. And then there is an exactness, yeah, a sort of a nice organized chart. There is no room for ambiguity. So that's kind of structure we are talking about in mineral remedies. So the row of sulfur is row 3 and the column of sulfur is column 16. Yeah. So what is row 3? Again, perhaps a lot of you already know about it. Row 3. So in the mineral chart, starting from row 1 to row 7, it is about, the idea is different developmental stages of the human existence. Yeah, and perhaps let me quickly share my screen so that there is a visual to you. Yeah, so that you can follow it a little better. Okay, yeah, so this is what we are talking about. Okay, so we are talking about, let's start the pointer. We're talking about row 3 and column 16. This is the intersection at which sulfur is, right? And at this intersection, starting from row 1 to row 7, one is going through the different developmental stages of a human being. And row 3 is at a stage of development which is infancy. The stage of development where it's all about care, nourishment, and identity. This is the first time, yeah, from the mother's womb, there is a separation. The baby is in the mother's womb. Yeah, the fetus is in the mother's womb. Yeah, and at that time, it's just a baby in the womb. There is no name ceremony yet, right? But now, from the womb, the baby is separated. And now there is a separate identity. My mother and me, Preeti, Prajakta, Taskin, Asmita, all of us, there is a separate identity. I get my own name. Now, while I get my own name, I create my own identity. I'm still an infant. I still need my mother's lap. I still need my mother's care, nourishment. Somebody will still need to feed me. Somebody will still need to change my nappy. So I'm still dependent for my care and nourishment. But the issue or the item here or the focus here is of developing a separate identity. So we are at a cross section in the Natrum series, which is the series of identity and nourishment. And this, my friends, from a personal evolution method, from an Erik Erikson's developmental stages method, is the stage of infancy to preschool, oral stage of development and anal stage of development. What is the infancy stage of development? The infancy stage of development is that an infant is completely reliant on parents, especially the mother, right? Mother is a key figure at that time for nourishment and for security. And interaction with caregivers shapes the child's understanding of the world and society. It's a key developmental stage where the task is learning whether my caregivers, the people whom I'm dependent on, are they taking care of me? Are they taking care of my basic needs? And if they receive consistent warmth, comfort, affection, it fosters the feeling of safety. It fosters the feeling of trust. Yeah, so if you see, the main issue in Natrum is trust. And the opposite in Muriaticum is mistrust. trust and mistrust. On the first column of the row 3, idea is trust. I want to bond. I need this relationship who loves me unconditionally and I can completely rely on this person. And the idea is, if this relationship breaks, there is betrayal, there is mistrust. So this is the main idea in the row 3. The row 3 is about trust and mistrust. It's about, can I trust for my care, for my nourishment, for my security, for my love? Can I completely trust this individual, this family? Can I be dependent? Versus, I need to be independent. I cannot trust anybody. People always betray you. Yeah, so I'm always worried and hurt that my feelings are going to be affected. My feelings are going to be hurt. Yeah, that's the main idea. Now, in this context, if we are saying row 3 is about care, nourishment, identity, you have to always, in a mineral world, map it with a column, right? I showed you there are rows and there are columns. Now, natrum is column 1, where there is complete dependence. So you have natrum over there in row 3. But sulfur, I told you, is on the right side. It is column 16. So as one goes from left side to the right side of the mineral chart, the dependency decreases. They start becoming more independent. There are efforts to develop their structure, complete their structure, and after a particular point, the structure starts losing its integrity. The structure starts degenerating, and effort needs to be made to keep that structure intact. So sulfur is at column 16, which is almost towards the right side. It is about, my identity, my structure is fully developed. In fact, it is so developed that, I don't need you. I am better than you. I know more than you. In natrum, in magnesium, in aluminum, which are the column 1, 2, and 3 of the row 3 of the mineral chart, the identity has not yet developed completely. They're still dependent for that. Silica has fixed identity, very rigid identity. I will, what do you say? I will break, but I will not bend. I am like this. You need to think of me like this. Phosphorus is the first element where they experience their identity as apart from what has been given to you. It is the first element which says, you know what, I'm not just Raj Malhotra. I am. They would be somebody like, I want people to call me Rajiv, for example. They would want to have unique names for themselves. They would like to dress in a particular way. They would like to be more with friends, and they want to create their own individual, unique identity. Sulfur is further than phosphorus. It's further right side than phosphorus. And in sulfur, it's not that I'm different than you. Phosphorus is, I'm different than you. Sulfur is saying I'm better than you. And after sulfur comes chlorine, which is, as a completely opposite identity from what has been given to you. So basically what I'm trying to say, that in the realm of identity, from column 1 to the column 18, you're going to have different stages in which the identity is. And sulfur is at the stage where the feeling is, I'm proud to be me. I know better than you. There's a feeling of egotism, which is like, mine is better than yours. They're proud of themselves. There's some sense of selfishness. There's a sense of asserting their presence. There is a sense of disgust with other people's opinions or views. There's a sense of cynicism. There's a sense of, putting other people down, the sense of being critical. So they have a sense of, I am better than you. They feel they are very important. And when they don't get this importance, when they don't get this appreciation, then there's a lot of effort. There's a feeling of being scorned. There's this feeling of being suppressed. There's a feeling of being put down, insulted, humiliated. So you know these rubrics of sulfur, right? Ailments from being scorned, ailments from humiliation. You know, if their pride is hurt, they are very, very sensitive to it. Embarrassment, my friends, is a big, big word in sulfur. So on one side, you know, they have this sort of a you know, that I'm a superhero, I'm the king, I know better than everybody, you know. But on the other side, there's a sense of, you know, I am not good enough and I need to work very hard to look good, to know better, to have better opinions, to have better knowledge. And if I'm not able to do that, I have to constantly make effort to know things better, to look better, to succeed in business, to succeed in relationships. Because if I don't do that, if I fail in doing that, I will face scorn, I will face embarrassment, I will face humiliation. So it's the idea is about ego, to maintain their ego and honor. Yeah, honor, ego, pride. These are very, very important themes of sulfur. And why this is coming? See, perhaps all of us know sulfur, yeah? Maybe you know all of this, perhaps. But why do we have those symptoms in sulfur? If you can take this back in ABC of Remedies today, I will be very, very delighted and I'll feel very satisfied, yeah? For example, why does sulfur have offensive smells? All their discharges are offensive, isn't it? Their perspiration, their feces, their any discharges from any orifices of the body is offensive. Why? You know, when sulfur is burnt, sulfur, for example, when you chop onions, yeah, you start having there's a strong smell of the onion, and you know there's also this tears in your eyes when you crush a garlic, for example, the kind of smell that you get, or when there is a leak in the gas in your cylinder, yeah, there is a particular smell, yeah, because sulfur as an element in nature has a very strong smell as of rotten eggs. Yeah, if you put it on Google, you know, how does sulfur smell? Smells as if of rotten eggs. Obviously, the discharges of sulfur are going to be offensive. Yeah. Then why is sulfur such an important skin remedy? It has been used as a skin remedy in naturopathy. It has been used as a skin remedy since centuries. It's been used as a skin remedy, as an ointment, as an antibacterial agent, even by modern allopaths. Yeah. So it is but natural that in the skin chapter, the main remedy is going to come up as sulfur. Yeah. Why sulfur has egotism? Why has sulfur, why is sulfur such a big philosopher, Why is he making air parcels all the time? Why is sulfur always judging and has opinions about everybody? Why is there so much cynicism in sulfur? It's because it's in the row 3 where the issue is about identity. And it's in column 16 where he feels that his identity is not just different than you, but better than you. So you now understand the why of a particular symptom, and that helps in in the way you understand the remedy. Yeah, then you don't really kind of mechanically just by heart or memorize particular symptoms. Yeah, our materia medica then comes alive. So we spoke about toxicology, we spoke about ancient use of sulfur, we spoke about what is the modern medicine using sulfur for. We spoke about the sensation, the kingdom. We spoke about the PEM, right? Infancy. Infancy is what? Completely dependent, yet wanting my own identity. And the oral stage of development, I want what I want now. I don't care about others. There's a sense of selfishness in that, right? That I will cry, change my nappy. I will cry, feed me. I will cry, come play with me. I will cry, pick me up, take me out. Not thinking about anybody else, right? So, so you understand the idea of oral stage of development, you understand the idea of infancy, you understand the idea of PEM. Now, another contemporary concept I want you to take back today. Row 3 corresponds to the idea of superclass 3. Okay, so let's kind of now understand sulfur from the perspective of the superclass. The main idea of superclass 3 is love and limit. Yeah, Dr. Sankaran talks about the Lakshman Rekha often whenever he speaks about superclass 3. That I love you, I need your love. Yeah, they need the love of their family, their husband, their home. They need the love, they need the care, the nourishment, the protection that the home, that society, that office, that familiar environment gives them. But at a point that becomes limiting. Yeah, they want to go out, they want to not conform to the rules and regulations, the restrictions, the limitations of this husband, of this home, of this society, of this office. They want to go out, they want to break this limitation, they want to be free, but they cannot. Why? Because they need the love, care, nourishment. So outside of this limit, outside of this boundary, outside of this Lakshman Rekha, there is freedom, there is adventure, but it is dangerous. I always need to come back to my safe zone. Yeah, the idea of value, the idea of appreciation, the idea of the sense, the question of the sense of their self-worth, what is their value in the relationship is very important. But at the same time, even if the husband is alcoholic, even if the family puts 100 different restrictions, this woman will not break the relationship. This woman will crib, cry, go to counselors, go to the kitty parties and have her little adventure. But at the end of the day, she will still come back because it's a self-limited environment. Yeah, nobody's asking her to be in this marriage, but she cannot break free from this relationship because she needs this love, this nourishment, this familiarity in which she is. Yeah, she needs to fit in there. So they conform and they self-restrict themselves. And this is the difference between superclass 3 and superclass 5, where if they are in a bad marriage, superclass 5 will break the marriage. But superclass 3 will make sure that they sustain the marriage. They will never be able to separate in a marriage, So this idea, love and limitation. Now, sulphur is on the right side of the row 3, correct? So in sulphur, they are able to be more free. They're able to be more dominating, yeah. But at the same time, they will be very needy for love and appreciation. They will not be okay if somebody thinks of them, negatively. I read a quote, and I don't remember the exact words of it, but I read it and it was a beautiful line. That true freedom and true success is not that, and confidence is not that you know that you're going to succeed in your presentation or your performance. True freedom, true confidence, and true success is to say that even if people don't appreciate me, I'm going to be okay. Sulphur is not going to be okay. Yeah, they need that appreciation, they need that performance, they need to feel important, they need to be the center of attention to be feeling okay. Yeah, so then they will make all the efforts to be successful, in their job, in their business, in their relationship, or in their art, whatever they are doing. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah. That there is going to be a constant effort, a constant struggle to come up. That yes, somebody should respect me. Somebody should say that yes, I'm good. Yeah. If you look at the rubric, mind, in the mind chapter, social position concerned about, you will find sulphur. They need to feel good about themselves because they have the feeling inside. It's coming, the deep root is that I am unimportant, I am, disgraced. And that is why they're very sensitive to scorn and insult. Yeah. To feel good about themselves, they need to work very hard. So if you look at the repertoire, it's very interesting. If you see in the delusion chapter, just study Sulphur from the delusion chapter. So in one side, you will see delusion that he's black, delusion that he is thin, delusion that he is failing. Yeah, so you will see all this. That the delusion that the bed is too small for him. Yeah, but on other side, you will see delusion enlarged, delusion that clothings are beautiful, delusion imagine that there is a lot of wealth. So there is both polarity. Yeah, delusion, wonderful rags, even rags are beautiful. Yeah, so they go into this sense of, rags and riches, both polarities. Inside, they feel they're not good enough, and outside, then there is overcompensation. Yeah, overcompensation to feel that I am the best. I know better than you. Who are you to tell me anything? Yeah. So this you can understand from another perspective. You can understand this from the perspective of Maism. What is the Maism? Sulphur is the king of Antipsoric remedies. Yeah. It's Sora. So this effort that yes, the task is too high, but yes, I can do it. Yes, I can achieve it. There's a sense of hopefulness, there's a sense of optimism. If you see both these rubrics, yeah, optimism, hopefulness, you will find Sulphur in 3 marks. So on one stage, there's a lot of hopefulness, effort, wants to try hard, perseverance. Yeah. If you look at the rubric perseverance, you will find Sulphur. But on the other side, they will say, you know what? Who cares? They'll make many plans but execute nothing. They will persist at nothing. Yeah, that is the failed side. They'll become too lazy. Laziness is one of the grand characteristic of a Sulphur patient, right? They'll procrastinate everything. They will think of many projects, rarely undertakes them. They'll brag about many projects, but not necessarily follow through. So that is another side. That is another side of the Sulphur. Again, it's going towards the right side, right? So they want to make effort, but at a, on the failed state, so to say, they will just say, I don't care, my rags are riches, but in the beginning, there's a lot of ambition. If you look at the rubric, ambition, business desire for, business aptitude for, Sulphur is such. It's a remedy in 3 months. It reminds me of a case. Yeah, it's a recent case. It's been a few months now. I think close to 5-6 months. And the patient is doing really well. The chief complaint was frozen shoulder. Okay, and the story of this patient is that he comes from he's now at a, he's in a executive position in a very has a good high profile job and is very very successful. But the backstory is that he comes from a very modest beginning, had lots of financial struggles, very low socioeconomic status, but he always wanted to, that I'm going to make a difference, I'm going to do better. I'm going to make sure that my family succeeds and we see better days. He also had a lot of stammering. Yeah, so then in school, he used to feel very, very embarrassed with the stammering. Like sometimes, the teachers or, in some situations, they would say that, what, you say last because you're going to take a lot more time than the rest of the students. So then they would give other students the priority, and then he would have to speak last because he's going to stammer and he's going to take a little bit more time. So that used to make him feel so embarrassed. But he decided that he is going to be sitting on the first row, first bench every day, and he would raise his hand first every time so that he gets an opportunity to say what he wants to say, and he would build his confidence. Even in his corporate job, he will always raise his opinion. He will be always impulsive and saying that this is what I want, this is how I want it. And he is so that I want to succeed, I want to get rid of this stammering, and I feel very embarrassed, and I will all the time be nervous that when my turn comes, how am I going to say, what is going to happen? Rather confidently just go ahead, say it, this is what it means. So he comes across as a very haughty person, somebody who's very, whose head is always full of opinions. He doesn't give other people chance to talk. But it comes from the sense of almost a sense of lack of confidence within himself, a sense of embarrassment within himself. And that is why, there's so much effort to succeed, to have a lot of ambition. Yeah. Now, what else can I say about sulfur? Let's talk about certain physical generals or physical characteristics, and perhaps a lot of us already know about it, but we cannot close sulfur. An understanding of, when we are talking about ABCs of the remedy, I cannot not say about in my whatever number of years of experience, there will be some history of suppressed skin eruption or some suppressed discharge somewhere in the case. If you elicit that, you will find it, that there is some history of skin eruption, treated and suppressed in certain form. We all know about aggravation from standing, aggravation in the forenoon around 11 o'clock. There'll be hunger, there'll be headache. There is a general aversion and aggravation from bathing. There's profuse perspiration. Pains are burning kind of pains. The soles and the vertex, there's burning. Has to remove his legs outside the bed because he cannot tolerate the heat of the bed. If you're talking about sulfur children, what I can say is that sulfur children can be very curious. They can be very inquisitive. They will be extroverted. They are strong-willed. If they come to the clinic, they're not just sitting on one corner quietly. They will, move around the clinic. They will, in fact, touch everything. They will pick everything, and they are like all the time touching, exploring. If there's a rubric for that, did you know that? If you go to the repertory, let me see if I can open it right now, and you see touch things compared to. You will find sulfur there. In fact, in the Soul of Remedies, Dr. Sankaran says that is one of a clinical confirmation rubric we've seen in his clinic, that children always tend, it's almost like for them to feel that the thing is real, they have to touch it. I would also think that it's curiosity, that I want to look at everything, I want to touch everything, I want to see how it feels, I want to see what it is. So touch things compelled to is another important characteristic, especially more seen in children than in adults. They need to be the center of attention, and if they don't get, children can react with jealousy, they throw tantrum, etc. Right? They can be children who are very popular at school, they're leading, they're the class monitors, or they could be children who are bullies and have bullied behavior problems. So let's do some cases. I think that will be interesting. I will share my screen so that all of you can see. First, I will do a short case. This is a very old case. I presented it somewhere in 2015. And by then the patients were better, so it's very old. And the patient had psoriasis. He was a 28-year-old male, came to me in 2014. He had, of course, taken, by the time for skin complaints, by the time they come to us, they've already taken a lot of treatment. We get some hints, some antenna somewhere should think about sulfur. Eruptions are dry, scaly, cracked, bleeding. The patches are everywhere, back, abdomen, elbows, eyebrows, legs, all the way up to the knee. And along with that, he has some other gaseous problems and things like that. This is how his skin looked like. So this complaint started when he was 7 or 8 years old. It started with small eruptions, and then it slowly started increasing. And what he says, and he was, he was a laborer. Okay, so it's not like he has tons of money, right? So he feels that I'm spending so much money, and then still nothing is happening. So his concern is that I'm like wasting my money so much, right? If you see fear of poverty, yeah, or money-minded, sulfur patients, you will see sulfur over there, Then he says that I feel like, in Hindi, okay, I will then translate it. It's like, कि इस बीमारी को लोग तरह तरह की बातें करते हैं, right? Like I have these eruptions in the parts of my body which are visible. So people say different things. They look like, what is this? Is this contagious? ये छूत की बीमारी तो नहीं है, हर आदमी मुझे छाट रहा है, like as if everybody is judging me, they are filtering me, and I feel very very insulted and humiliated. किसी जुबान and then he says that किसी की जुबान थोड़ी पकड़ सकते हैं, like we cannot control somebody's tongue, but he feels scorned. This is the idea of feeling scorned. He feels disrespected. He feels insulted. He feels judged by people. So then he's very, very affected by it. He's basically, he's an agent, does labor work in an iron factory. But his talks are big. He says that he's met this person, he knows this famous guy, he has worked for them. So he gets attracted, or he wants to talk about his self-worth because he knows XYZ person, right? He talks about money, he talks about business. He also did some bargaining and consultation fees, which gave us several indications of self-worth. Yeah, so you see issues of identity, you see issue of self-worth, we issue of embarrassment. We see a lot of suppression that has already occurred due to the various treatments he has received, and we see all the characteristics of itching, aggravated winter, etc. Right, so we put all of that in the repertorial chart. We see sulfur and avarice. Yeah, you see business talks of avarice, you find sulfur. So he received sulfur, he gradually started getting better. That was the only remedy he received, and you see the kind of change that has happened in this patient. Yeah, he did extremely well. Let's do another case, okay? And this time a child case. So she's a 6 years old child. And when she came with us, she didn't come to us with any skin complaints, okay? But there was a past history of atopic dermatitis when she was, very, very young, and she was treated with allopathy. Then another past history was that she used to get recurrent styes, and the styes are on her left eye. So this is very important. You have to take all of these symptoms into consideration because it was not just a one-off style, recurrent incidences of style. And her main complaint when she came to us was allergic rhinitis, allergic cough. And it was not like, once in a while. Every month she will fall sick. She would have to miss her school. The cough would be severe. It will have greenish, thick phlegm. There will be breathlessness. Her face was turning red. And she had taken so many steroids, so many antibiotics. And because of all this wheezing and breathlessness, the doctors had said that now she will need inhalers. Without inhalers, it will be difficult to manage her. So imagine a 6 years old child. No, it was terrible. So then we understand this person's nature, right? So the mother says that she's very extroverted, very friendly. They had recently moved to Mumbai from Bangalore. So she, she still is in touch with some of her friends in Bangalore. She would call them. And in the new school, in the new society here in Bombay, she had made friends already. She's a very organized child. She's a very particular, disciplined, studious child. And one thing I'm going to say here, I want to make a comment. Yeah, we always think of sulfur as somebody who's disorganized, who's unkept, untidy, hates bathing, But in these times, it's now the importance of hygiene and it's so much there. So you will not see like the typical drug picture of sulfur that we've read in our books. Yeah. So now perhaps that's not so common. In fact, a lot of sulfur patients have gotten better. They are very fastidious, very organized. They're very particular of how they look, how they dress, etc. So I have in fact seen less cases of unkept, dirty sulfur and more cases of very, very particular, organized, good-looking sulfur, because their identity is very important for them. So either they want to dress in a different way, or they want to wear flashy clothes, or even if they're wearing simple clothes, and even if their hair is unkept and let's say their shirt is not ironed, they would feel like, I don't care about it. But when you dig deep, you say that what is behind this, unironed, unkept shirt, perhaps, is that I'm different. I don't care about your opinion. Yeah, it comes from the sense of ego and a sense of identity. Okay. So, anyways, coming back to this child. So she's a very organized child. She's very disciplined, very studious. She's a loving child, very affectionate. She loves appreciation. If teacher gives star, teacher praises, she loves it. But she's always been a sick child. Yeah, she falls sick very frequently. So she'll tell the mother, "Don't worry, mom. I'll get better. I'm taking medicine. No." The mother is Kali Kab. So you can imagine how anxious the mother is. So as a 6-year-old child, she's encouraging the mother. She's very hopeful. Yeah, this is so wrong that I'm hopeful I'll get better. I'm taking medicine. We're doing everything. I'm going to get better. Yeah. And then what is loving child? Extroverted, very attached to mother, loves affection, loves praises, loves affection, appreciation. What does this indicate? It gives you hints of the row 3, correct? Then what she likes? She likes coloring, she likes drawing, she loves to go on the stage, she loves performing. She's not a very competitive child. She's not nervous before exam, yeah? Stage performance, etc. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So she likes to perform. She likes to get attention. She likes the limelight, yeah. And she doesn't get nervous before exam. She doesn't get nervous before going on the stage. But she prepares herself. Yeah, it's not like that she's reckless and she doesn't care about it. Yeah, she'll prepare and she'll go confidently and does everything well. But she's sensitive. If somebody teases her, bullies her, scolds her, makes fun of her, she gets very angry. Then one very interesting thing, what happened was, she's like her father. The mother says that she's very like her father. She needs to dress well. She looks to look good. She will select her own clothes. And she's also very reactive. Like if I say, like if I make a comparison, if the mother says, if I make a comparison, that what, your that friend in school, she did so well in math. Why are you not studying math? She's like this. Why are you not doing like that? So she'll immediately say, "Mama, don't compare me with any other kid. If you do that, I will also compare you with other mothers." Yeah, this is so interesting. Yeah, if you don't compare me with anybody else. I know who I am, and I am very good at what I am. If you do that, I will also compare you with the others. Yeah, this is also very interesting, I thought. She desires a lot of chocolates and cottage cheese, paneer, and she cannot stay hungry, especially in the morning. And a lot of children, right? They skip their breakfast before going to school, or they just drink milk and go, and they will have their food in the first break in the school. So those children perhaps not necessarily sulfur, yeah. But she cannot tolerate hunger. She gets irritated, especially in the morning. She feels more hungry. So those were the indications of sulfur, and I'm telling you, she is doing excellently well. Her recurrent colds, coughs, everything has settled, and she is doing very, very well. I met her today morning only. So yeah, I want to see if there are any questions, concerns. We could have done another case, but I think for now it is good. Any questions? I see a question on the chat which says, superclass 3 is the bird type. Yes. So if you see superclass 3, what is the idea of superclass? The idea of superclass is the main dynamic the patient has. It's a little deeper than sensation. The main dynamic meaning in any situation, what is their main reaction? Yeah, how do they respond and react in case of any crisis, in case of any situation? Now, superclass 3 includes the row 3 of the mineral kingdom. It includes the birds and lat humanum of the animal kingdom, and includes the subclass 3 of the plant kingdom. Yeah. So each of these superclasses, Dr. Sankaran has described a particular type of the superclass. So the superclass 3 is the bird type. Why the bird type? Bird type meaning that I want my freedom, I want to fly free, but I'm restricted, I'm caged, I'm suffocated. Yeah, so I'm limited, but I want to expand. I am caged and restricted, but I want to, expand and fly and free and rebel and do adventure and things like that. Yeah, that is the idea. So in the limit, outside of the limit. In a lot of these cases of superclass 3 in the mineral, animal, or the plant kingdom, you will see they use hand gesture. They will talk about, I want to be like this, I feel like this, I feel like this, and I want to just free. I want to be expand, let's say in asthma, they will feel I'm feeling restricted, I'm feeling breathless, and I want to free and I want to be expanded. Yeah, something like that. Okay, any other questions? When to apply the rubric ailment from scorned, like how patient will express the feeling. So I just explained it to you, in that patient. So what he feels is, लोग मुझे नीचा दिखा रहे हैं, लोग मुझे क्या बोला उन्होंने? He said the word मुझे छाट के देख रहे हैं, बुरी नजर से देख रहे हैं. Like I'm being humiliated, I'm being scorned. So that's the way they will feel. Scorn, I'm just looking at the dictionary meaning of scorn, feeling or expression of contempt, rejection, contemptuous behavior. That I was looked upon, down upon, I was frowned, I was humiliated, I was insulted. Yeah. So when somebody expresses contemptuousness, somebody expresses rejection, disdain, that is ailments from scorn. Yeah, and then that has had a major impact on them. So then you will say ailments from scorn. Sulphur is 3-4 marks there. Yeah, very important remedy. Any other question before we wrap up? All right, if no, then what we will do is we have a materia medica that we have created. It's a 1-page document. It's a desktop guide for all these ABC of remedies. So, in one glance, you can see all the classical concept of all the contemporary concepts. You can get access to it through our website. So you will have to register on the website. You have to go to the ABC remedies, and in the resources section, you'll be able to download this document. You can take a print, keep it on your desktop. It's going to be very, very useful. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, and I will see all of you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.